Two robbers walked into a small phone and accessories store late in the evening. Inside the store, a cashier was standing behind the counter while a customer was looking through some phone cases on a display shelf. Suddenly, the robbers pulled out guns and pointed them at both the cashier and the customer. They shouted orders, telling the cashier to get on his knees and raise his hands in the air. Frightened and not wanting to risk his life, the cashier immediately obeyed while the customer stood still, afraid to move. With the situation under their control, the robbers began looting the store. One of them kept his gun aimed at the cashier and the customer while the other moved quickly around the shop, grabbing expensive smartphones, headphones, and other valuable accessories from the shelves. They packed the items into bags they had brought with them, trying to take as many valuables as possible. While the robbers were busy gathering items, their attention slowly shifted away from the cashier, still on his knees behind the counter. The cashier noticed that the thieves were distracted. Beneath the counter cabinet was a small handgun that he kept, hidden for emergencies. Carefully and quietly, he reached under the cabinet and pulled out the gun. In a sudden moment, the cashier stood up and fired. The loud shots startled the robbers, who immediately panicked. Realizing that the situation had changed, they quickly abandoned some of the items they had collected and ran toward the door. Within seconds, both thieves fled from the store and disappeared down the street. After the robbers escaped, the cashier and the customer were left shaken but unharmed. Late one night, a small grocery store was still open. The cashier was attending to 3 customers, and everything seemed calm. Suddenly, a man entered the store acting suspiciously. Within seconds, he pulled out a weapon, threatened the cashier, and demanded all the money from the register. The customers froze, unsure of what to do. As the thief focused on the cashier, one of the customers quietly moved behind him. In a swift and brave move, the customer grabbed the robber in a chokehold and slammed him to the ground. The thief struggled, but the customer maintained control. Seeing the robber pinned down, the cashier rushed over to help. Together, they held the thief firmly until the situation was secure. Other customers quickly called the police, who arrived shortly afterward and took the thief into custody. Late one night, a man was walking home from work along a quiet street after a long day. The area was calm, almost empty, with only a few streetlights lighting the road. As he continued walking, he suddenly heard the sound of a motorbike approaching from behind. Moments later, a motorbike carrying 2 thieves stopped beside him. The men began demanding his belongings and tried to intimidate him. Realizing he was about to be robbed, the man quickly decided to defend himself. As one of the thieves tried to grab him, he pushed them with force. The sudden resistance caused the motorbike to lose balance, and both thieves fell off the bike onto the road. Before they could get back up, a police officer riding a bike happened to arrive at the scene. Seeing the attempted robbery, the officer quickly stepped in and fired warning shots to stop the thieves. The sudden arrival of the officer forced the robbers to give up their attack. A man was driving his car down the road on what seemed like a normal day. Traffic was light, and everything appeared routine. As he continued driving, he noticed that the car in front of him suddenly slowed down and then came to a complete stop in the middle of the road. At first, he assumed it might be a mechanical problem or an unexpected obstruction. Without warning, the men quickly stepped out of the car ahead. Instead of checking their vehicle, they began running directly toward him while holding guns. It immediately became clear that this was not a simple traffic issue but a planned attempt to rob him. Realizing the danger, the man reacted quickly. He pulled out his own legally owned firearm to defend himself. As the 2 armed men approached, he fired shots in their direction to stop the threat. The sudden resistance caught the attackers off guard. They immediately turned around and ran away. The entire incident happened very quickly, but the driver's swift reaction prevented what could have been a dangerous robbery. Shaken but unharmed, he remained in his car. On a hot Sunday afternoon, a man was riding his motorbike home from work when his journey suddenly turned dangerous. As he slowed down on a quiet road, 2 thieves on another motorbike rode in front of him and blocked his path. One of the thieves pointed a gun at the man, threatening him and demanding that he step off his motorbike and hand over the keys. Fearful for his life, the man obeyed and moved away from the bike. Just as the thieves were about to ride off with both motorbikes, an off-duty police officer who was across the road noticed what was happening. Realizing that an armed robbery was in progress, the officer quickly got out of his car and took action. He fired his gun at the armed thief on the stolen motorbike. stopping the robbery. Seeing this, the second thief panicked and escaped on his own motorbike. The police officer then secured the situation and checked on the victim, who was shaken but unharmed. Thanks to the officer's quick response and bravery, the man was saved and his motorbike was recovered. The incident showed how alertness and courage can make a critical difference in moments of danger. On a Friday afternoon, the 18th of November 2022, two bank robbers walk into a busy bank during business hours. Their movements immediately draw attention. Both men pull out guns, pointing them at customers and ordering everyone to stay still. Panic spreads across the room as people freeze in fear. The robbers move toward the cashier and aggressively demand money. The cashier, clearly shaken, begins to comply while customers remain silent and seated, watching helplessly as the situation unfolds. Suddenly, the sound of police sirens grows louder outside the bank. Red and blue lights flash through the windows. The robbers realize the police have arrived sooner than expected. Tension rises as they hesitate, looking around for a way out. Knowing their plan has failed, the robbers abandon the robbery and rush out of the bank, fleeing the scene before the police can enter. The customers remain inside, relieved but shaken. Later, it is revealed that the robbers did not get far. Police units track them down and successfully capture them. The bank is secured, and everyone inside is safe.